Welcome back to Streamline Investigations. It is Marvin speaking. Welcome back to the channel, and thank you for all the new subscribers. It's wonderful that this channel is growing. And one of the things is that I've had this channel for quite a while, but I was so busy with Streamline Entertainment because obviously it's been out there for nearly 3 years now, that I want to concentrate on investigations. I've got my friend Ali Harris who's on this as well, which is absolutely brilliant as well. So when she's free, she'll definitely answer a lot of questions for you as well. So Marie Stevens, welcome to the channel. Have they used Cavendish dogs along with the ground and search dogs? If yes, which dogs had hits, if any? Well, they used ground dogs, which went to, what could I say, the end of the garden or to the road, I'd imagine, and they stopped there. That's what I heard, and they were just search dogs. Cavender dogs basically have not been bought in as yet. I wonder why, Marie, but definitely sniffer dogs have been bought in. Planet Ronnie, what site do you use to look at the list? I'm not living there anymore. It was Ali Harris. Let me just have a quick look for you. Just bear with me 1 second. Right, what I'll do, I'll put that to Ali Harris and she will reply to you, Planet Ronnie, if that's okay. I'll just take a note of your message and I will get her to reply to you on the side. Thank you very much. Love Earthlings. Does anyone have a link to her reading? I don't know. All I did, I'm sure if you go on her YouTube or TikTok, you'll find it. Love Earthling. Thank you. Margaret says, was it really 5 p.m. that grandma saw him? Yeah, because we've only technically got her say so on that time. Did he allegedly go missing on Halloween? No, it was the 27th of September. It was a Saturday. Let me just check that date, people. It was definitely the 27th of September. He went missing, which was a Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. No, I don't think it was Halloween. No. Ali Harris, thank you also. Thank you for all your messages. Some very informative. Take care, everyone. Update soon. Thank you, Ali, my co-worker. Ivana says thank you all. Thank you, Ali, South Australia. Thank you very much, Eva, as well. Jimmy says best wishes from here in the UK. Hope everyone turns out okay concerning little Gus. Really appreciate that, Jimmy. Thank you. I hope in all property owners in all the surrounding areas look into rectangular steel storage containers. Small maybe have climbed in as well. I hope Gus is found. No prayers for his safe return. Thank you very much, Sean. Appreciate that. Sharon, sorry. Merst says the whole thing is very concerning. From what I have read, the father doesn't live there, but he has been seen on news. The father doesn't get along with his wife's parents. That's why he doesn't live there. The mother and another child live there with her parents. What animals are they supposed to be farming? Have the police and searchers check neighbouring properties. Yeah, it's very important. You would have thought, Merce, they'd do that. Do you know what I mean? Sort of, definitely sort of check around other properties. And I'm sure the neighbours have been as handy as they can, should we say. Planet Ronnie says, New Year, interesting point, the lack of a photo was the first red flag. Yeah, because he went missing on the Saturday and they didn't produce one to the Thursday, which is quite bizarre to me at the end of the day, because you would have thought a missing 4-year-old kid photo is the first thing you'd see. which is odd. Thank you, Planet Ronnie. I gave him $1. I live in SA, and I've worked these areas and on South Australia, that is, on farm this size. Definitely no crocs, but dingoes, yes, but that's rare. I've never seen one myself. Some of the properties I've worked on, I'm leaving. I've had to call the farmer because I can't remember which way to go to get outlaw. I'm surprised the little one was outside for that long by themselves. Snakes are starting to pop out and they're very deadly here. Grand final day as it's well, which in Australia is one big boozer, but that family might not be interested, so maybe not for them. Yeah, there was some kind of big sports match on, and it was like interesting. Did that attract their attention? And then obviously the little boy Gus walked off somewhere. Shanice says, I believe you should be using a remote viewer. Rochelle is very tuned in. Yeah, she is. She's absolutely brilliant. I like her. Thank you for that. We move on. It's so sad. I get instincts about a certain thing. I'm feeling that poor, like Gus is no longer with us. Foul play. The family knows something. It's odd in that they're not letting people help them. There may be a reason for that, and only time will tell. But personally, I would want to give my whole heart sweat for that family member to come back. And this is a little boy of 4. Claire says, I feel for you, sweetheart. I gave up on reporting years ago. Now I pray, asking for those responsible to be exposed. Then I give over to our heavenly host. Let's go. Let God. Like I said, we can only do what we can. I'm very, very passionate in finding little Gus, and I'll do everything possible to put out much information as possible, people. Tony says, anyone else shivers, tivers? Yeah, that's the neighbours. We're just not sure. This is a problem. I don't want to point fingers at the moment or blame anyone, but I'm just not happy with the family. They would just seem to be really slow reporting everything. Cindy says, I feel sorry for her to have all these visions. No one is basically taken seriously. I believe that people do have visions. Take care of yourself. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Cindy. Brilliant message. Chris said the neighbour to me is somebody to look at. I agree, and you're not the first to mention that, Chris. Loz says that's shocking. They should be doing all they can. What's up with that? Yeah, 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 definitely. But like I said, it was the Daily Mail who actually came out and said that the family didn't want basically their help or anyone else's, apart technically you would have thought from the police, but do they really want them there as well? And the police are not telling us that. Ali Harris, does anyone know if there is a cesspit or spillage pond or sillage pond on the property, please? I expect the police to have covered it all and expect it to. Yeah, you would have thought that, especially water. A sheep farm, although not much grass, had a neighbour many years ago whose small son fell in the farm sillage clam tragedy. Thank you, everyone who logged onto this important case today. Stay safe. Thank you, Ali. Appreciate that. Rodney says, why are the parents not on the news? Where were they an hour before the kid disappeared? Well, it's funny, Rodney, because didn't she, the grandmother, turn around and said that she saw him half hour before he went missing? And then obviously she may have been cooking or watching the game or something. But 30 minutes is a long time. It really is a long time. And wasn't it 3 hours before they were, or just after 3 hours, they reported him missing? So basically, 3.5 hours have gone and you don't report, a 4-year-old missing to the police. That's quite bizarre. Free Country says, if someone's investigating this were to ignore words spoken, family called the police to report a child missing, that is factual. Child last seen by someone outside the family, when and what date. Everything in between is potentially inaccurate, distorted, forgotten, misintrude, or hearsay. Who was the last person to receive the child and from who? They would purpose was possible that an event happened to the child in another location. The home, the station, the surrounds may not have the evidence of this at all. Very, very good point, free country. And I like the way you talk. The child was fostered due to the risk. What was the risk? People of the internet know way less than the police, social workers, and locals. This will all blow our minds once we know what happened. Yeah, if we ever, because do you remember that? I did a video yesterday, that ex-police investigator, and he was basically saying, well, we've had these cases before and he may never be found. And I didn't really want to hear that. People, whether you investigate, whether you're ex-police or you're a police, I don't want to hear people give up on this young 4-year-old boy. But like I said, it has been now, 16 days plus? Thorny Devil, like you said, there are so many similarities to the William Tyrrell case. This is being brought up, and it's that case was tragic, the William Tyrrell case. Crazy Duck, I'm really annoyed that she thinks she's 100% right, and she spent most of the video telling us how peed off she was, and she hasn't been taken. Seriously, welcome to the world, honey. Yeah. Thank you, Thorny Devil, Crazy Duck. I agree. Look, the bottom line is, you can be peed off like the neighbours and the family, but people are interested in finding a 4-year-old boy. Kirsty says, love my country, but it's got real sinister side. But so I pray that the family get answers. Let's hope so too, and they're not involved. God help this child, Sue. Bernadette, thank you very much. God help this child, please. Very, very important. Appreciate that. User can cause any harm in checking info out. If it turns out that nothing is found to be it, seeing is they are still looking for Desi and not this child feels so wrong. Yeah, definitely. That's a really good point. Thank you for that. Sister B says, why are they still living on the property? Still, when they know it should be a potential crime scene. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We know that we've seen them talking to the police in the Daily Mail and stuff like that, but it's odd. It's odd. It's odd. Why don't they just send in a cadaver dog? I would want to see that kind of urgently, to be honest with you, because it's been 2 weeks. And like I said, it just sounds like to me they really think it went off. And obviously, the family, none of them are suspects at the moment, even though there's a few red flags out there from us as the public. Aidsworth, it's obvious that Gus' little footprint would have been seen leaving if an old and unrelated boot print was still visible. He did not fly an eagle, could not carry him. There were no dingo dog tracks. Who has big hunting dogs, but that may be jumped off the truck or car or driveway and covered up. I expect a luminal and extensive interior and tank searches, etc. Aidsworth, that's a brilliant, brilliant message there. I agree with you. Everything needs to be searched. Bernadette said the police need to do more. Some simple as they get the search warrants, also check the house thoroughly and the surrounding houses. We need to find Gus. Gus in WA wants you home. Sweet, amazing little boy. Yeah, as soon as possible. Thank you, Bernadette. Beautiful message. Morty, the police have done nothing to lose by listening to the medium. Just do it. Yeah, I agree. For me, I've gone through so many cases on my own and on channels as well. And let me tell you something. You've got to look at every lead. You've got to. You really, really have to. And I'm glad, basically, that the medium woman got on the phone to the police and said, please check that out. Keep doing it. They may do. But like I said, I know the police get a lot of leads, and some of them lead to nothing. But there's no harm in doing it. Thank you, Morty. Just peace. The problem is that this woman is one of hundreds of mediums who contacts the police, but she's kind of local as well. So I just think just give it a chance, please. Epiphany, you'd want everyone looking for your child. Serious red flags around the whole family. Yes, it is weird. I must admit. Jay says, I truly play. The family watches this, ready for a lawsuit involving these much grasping at BS. Fake and swearing, it's nothing but cowardly flogs. Yeah, definitely. The reason you haven't heard from the grandparents is because Gus' grandparents is trans. The dad doesn't get along with her and him. Interesting stuff. All that glitters. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I did hear that the Gus parent and the Gus's parents are trans, but I don't think it's a reason not to come out and talk about the child that you fostered that is missing and he's only 4 and he could be out in the wilderness somewhere or fallen somewhere or even taken. Jennifer says, is there no way you can get drones up like maybe even drones that can see in night vision, that the police can't detect them? Here in the United States, the only reason that I ever even seen something like that play out is when the parents are involved or know the parents or whoever is in charge of that little child. I'm sorry, I don't know about what's going on really, other than that here. Yeah, I agree, Jennifer. It's really, really bizarre. Really, we've got Pacific times that basically his grandma saw him half hour before he went missing. He technically hadn't been seen for half hour. We've got that 5 p.m. on the Saturday, and that's all we've got. Have we got to take their word for it? Or when was the last? I would love to. When was the last time he was seen before that? What, 4:30? It's just not good enough, to be honest with you, that nobody knows where he went. Wingler says, just for the record, they've had everyone on everyone on their property. He's not there. Yeah, thank you, Wingler. Appreciate that. I wouldn't dismiss psychics too soon. They have unique traits. They are good at cold readings, people, and picking up clues. They're often demand from all sorts of people who want someone to talk. They get told a lot of personal stuff. They know how to put little pieces of dialogue together, listen to people closely, and remember it, so they can often surprise someone with an insight which just needed to be spoken, become obvious. They are generally well liked and amongst the community and are afforded a kind of trust because obviously no one hears about their own hopes and secrets from anyone else in town. Hence, it's okay to share things, etc. Can't say about this lovely lady, don't know her lol. She's basically just stated everything I outlined here. Awesome. She's showing a lot of emotion. She's using her voice to express it. Like it a lot. People also do. Yeah. Do you know something, Mushy Mystic? I'm sort of, how can I say, shine to a few of them who do make sense and who's also got experience in working out other cases. Yet some are more powerful than others, and I really do respect that. But Deadrum says, I dreamed a neighbour shed to dark wood. Indeed, interesting stuff. Bernadette, I don't understand, as the parents, why they don't want anyone to help look for him. Does not make sense. If that was my 4-year-old, I would want as many people as possible helping to fund him. I wouldn't be sleeping. I'd be out there 24/7. Jojo, I think he could have been gone longer than 30 minutes. I don't think they watched him much as all. Lady Divine, the deaf not any intelligent police officer in Australia. She's right about that. Which Rochelle would tell us the info she received first, then complain about the procession. Interesting stuff. But like I said, I would, for me, when she said that, Rochelle, I would have taken it seriously. If I was a police officer, that's my viewpoint. Jim, how you doing? Someone should follow every suggestion. I agree. Rainbow says, I think someone he knew had murdered him. That makes the most sense to me. Kind of convenient, don't you think? He's on his way to work and then he just vanishes. Yeah. Oh, that was a relook at the missing Jason Jolofsky. What happened to him? Yeah, I agree. It's a very, very strange case. Very, very strange case. Definitely, um, to me, it was an opportunity that either took him and killed him as well. That's a possibility. That was the Jason Jolofsky case. Very strange case that is. Planet Ronnie, hi, Irisher, Gardy has to be pronounced the Gardo. Yeah, it sounds lucky. Thank you for that. I'm shocked at those numbers. Yeah, Thank you, Planet Ronnie. That was Ali Harris who gave me them. She's my colleague who helps me run the channel. So any information of where she got that details from, I'll put it out there. Planet Ronnie, do tell your friends about the channel, because we'll do more sort of Irish missing people cases. I have done a few on this channel, and my first channel, Streamline Entertainment, as well. Ivana, the police should at least check out. They are clutching at straws anyway. The lady could be right. This is like the William Tyrrell case. So sad. Which is so sad for the poor little boys. Yeah, I agree. Julie says, I'm not going to comment on my abilities as this is not the place. However, I keep getting bad business. This is the crux of the matter. Yeah, well, there was some family squabbles. I think it was Ali said some family member recently died and they were squabbling over money. That's what I heard. Nobody would come out and say they're a psychic, especially in Australia, unless they were legitimate. And she's already come up with lots of points just in a few minutes, I've heard. The police should be taking calls and advice from anyone. And if she's that spot on, they should get a warrant and check it out. I agree. Jimmy said, it's always sus when an incident like this are shielded from thoughts that want to help. As a father, I would have camped out at night in the surrounding area with a fire big and bright and not stop looking. They know conspiracy theorists is like the racist card always played when they have no credible argument. Yeah, Jimmy, that's a brilliant point there. Rodney, little Gus, was 4-year-old. How far could a child walk in an hour or two on his own? Because, small children like that, toddler size, he's going to cry. He's going to try and walk back at the end of the day. I just don't believe he walked off. I really don't. Children do now wander off like that without leaving tracks of evidence of which way he went. If an Aboriginal attacker couldn't find him, he wasn't on that property to start with. Yeah, I agree. This is my point. I don't believe he wandered off. The neighbours woodshed. That's a possibility, Shed. A lot of low IQ want to blame someone's type getting their opinion broadcast on this one, just like when Linda Chamberlain was found guilty by public opinion. I mean, look, everyone's very, very got their own opinions because it's a 4-year-old boy. It's about care and love as well. But like I said, all we got to do is let the police do their job. But like I said, if we can help out in any other way, we will. The police surely can just go onto the property. They need a warrant to check some of the stuff in the house, I think. But it doesn't. Maybe the family have let the police check a few things. But like I said, things are a little bit quiet, and I don't like when the police are not sharing information. Maybe they're looking into something, but I just, believe things have dropped off a little bit. These people are 7th-generation sheep petropolists living in the isolation of the land. They are different to town and city people. All I can see is a lack of understanding of them shunning the spotlight. Sometimes it overrides common sense. Praying for Gus. Yeah, I agree. Good point, Michelle. They're a bit different. I probably know the guy or girl Murray name is significant up in ULD, but authorities and the communities have me isolated. They don't want anyone near me. They did something terrible to me, and they don't want anyone to know what they did. I guess that's a little child will never be found because the community are fearful of exposure. So sad. Really sorry for you, DJin. At the end of the day, sometimes we never know what people are going through. Appreciate your story, and I agree. Is someone hiding something with the missing Gus? I can't help but think he's in the dam. It looks large, deep, and full of weed. Divers could easily miss him. They need to dredge it. Yeah, I agree. That's a really good point. Billiger. Rabbit, they ruled the first footprint out. Yeah, they did. Welcome to the land of Mason X. Interesting. Children need location. Watches night and day. Yeah, watching. It's difficult. It's difficult because he was 4. And I get the feeling, Chris, that he always was allowed to play in the garden, but for that moment they took half hour in not looking for him, and then he wandered off. That's quite odd to me because, like I said, you know, he must have had a routine in playing in the garden, and then his grandparents looking for the window, or his mum looking out for him, or going to the door making sure he's all right. But it's very, very strange. And like I said, I think people are looking at, did he really go missing at 5 p.m. like she said, or was he gone before that? We don't know. I said right from the start he was taken in a vehicle. It had been on the land and died. They would have found remains of clothing of the little boy. The grandparents know more than what they're letting on. I agree. Dejan says, thank you, Rachel. Dejan says, poor Australians. In that hourglass, Rochelle is a grifter, invested in her for 2 years. Do your research. People have been calling her out for years. A family member of a missing person here in Australia bought her a van so she could pick up volunteers to aid her search for the missing family member. She only went one time and did not get out of the van. She instructed the search volunteer to check her hotspot while she sat in the van. Nothing was found, and she has never returned. She still has this van, and she has no other vehicle. She got that. She could do better her own life and left. She also been dragged missing people, loved ones, through the mud over the past few years. Many victims of Rochelle have come out and exposed her. Do your research, people. She's a devil. Oh, wow. Wow. Look, I'm in a house class. I'm not going to really run people down on this channel. I'm going to say, look, she made a good point about the police searching somewhere, and all I want to do, my job is to basically try and do good. I'm not one for running the people down, and this is why I built up my first channel, Streamline Entertainment. If people want to obviously discuss a few things, I have to be balanced at the end of the day, but I'm not going to abuse people that I don't really know. But the point Rochelle brought up about checking out another property, I think that should be done, to be honest with you. But like I said, everyone's got a pass. Let's just hope that basically she's doing good for people now. That's the main thing. Trollsy says, I thought the woman angry about conspiracy theories saying he was abducted was really weird when she's so hell-bent on wandered off narrative. He's gone, and apparently with no trace or evidence. A theory that he was abducted, a pretty common theory. It's more missing child cases. In fact, most parents whose kids are missing love to push the narrative of abduction over the wandered or narrative. So her to be angrily adamant that he was not abducted is highly strange. She abducted him. They had a ritual, sacrificed him. Wow. Let's not hope that is not true. I saw in my mediation a white utility driving off with a boy. Please consider. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. There's a lot of people who think Johnny a vehicle was involved in this. I think it's a possibility, but where would it pick him up on the road? It's easily done because he's a 4-year-old boy. Do you know what I mean? Was he given something basically to make him sleep as well, so we wouldn't cry? You just don't know. But you've got to be open-minded about this case. The detective from William Tyrrell case is an idiot. He believed the mother. He was soon taken off the case because he's an idiot. I don't know too much about the William Tyrrell case. I just read the AI overview on it, and it is very interesting. Linny says, yes, a command sense the child didn't just walk away. Now it's up to them to find out who this story reminds me of. A very young girl, what was taken from a campsite. She was taken by a man who has dolls. She reminded him of the doll. He didn't harm her. She was okay and back home. This person lives near campsites, so he's near a big being hid. Wow. Thank you for that, Linny. Elizabeth says, we aren't the police following in the lady's information. All the information is valuable. This is really, really sad and appears to have aspect that do not add up. Where are the search dogs? Yeah, Elizabeth, and the cadaver dogs as well. Quite a few people have mentioned that. Celtic, Moonchild. You can always believe everything as psychics. You can't always believe everything as psychic says thousands of scientists in Australia and worldwide claim that Cleo Smith was dead, yet she was found alive 3 weeks later. The testimony table 777. The family's so weird, poor little boy. Yeah, they are a bit strange, I must admit. But like I said, we don't know whether they've done something or not at the end of the day. But I would just like a little bit more from them in talking about Gus and what they know, and just giving us a little bit more. That would be good for the public to see. Whether they'll do that in the future, I don't know. But we're running out of time to find Gus. Too long on his own and too many accidents on the property waiting to happen. Bring the cadaver dogs. He may be buried on the property. Good point. Many people are saying bring the dogs in, the neighbour in dispute with them. That's a possibility. And family arguments as well. So does she have a page? I think she's on TikTok or YouTube, but I don't know about the page. Does it not? Medication time. Don't know about that. Please be too soft. I agree, Joanne. I would like them to sort of, maybe there's something that we don't know. I would like them to sort of push it a bit and get a warrant to search our property, to be honest. That's a good point, Joanne. Deborah says 6986. If there's online bullying, why are you online again? This doesn't make sense. If there is online bullying, why are you online again? This doesn't make sense. I don't know what you mean by that. It's not that people have actual theories, it's that the people are asking legitimate questions, and that's the issue. Very true, Eureka. And why should this be an issue? Once again, families seem to be behind a veil of secrecy like that being on them, not us. It seems the father of the little boy, according to the media, had legit concerns about his son's safety in that environment. People already making outback town folk look like a bunch of backward bigots. I'm sorry, but a missing child takes precedence definitely over someone's precious feelings. Also, Australian Aboriginal tracker are almost the best in the world. If an animal had taken a child, they would have seen tracks. As for the fake news trolls, I can't think of anyone that would do such a thing apart from to confuse the investigation, question mark. South Australia has a bit of a dark history for young people going missing and never being found. SA offers opportunity due to low populations and some very remote areas. It's like what we've seen in this Gus case that can describe a large part of Australia. The figures of missing people around Australia are in fact much higher than officially recorded and sad reality. Politicians always want to make the crime rates look lower than they actually are, to make it looks like the policies are working, but the reality is often far different. Not this drunken abo make-believe tracker. I am much better. Well, see whether the family would take you on to the police. I like to show that they do out on the isolated property. It looks bare and barren. Yeah, definitely. And you would have thought they would have found something. Yeah. Oh my God, says someone else. I'm going to leave it there, people. But thank you very much for your messages. Obviously, I can't read out all the messages. And I know some people are interested in basically, these, special readers or special sort of premonition of something, what's happened, people, at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? But look, we just have to keep going. We just read a few more. Soltis says, what a load of bullcrap is private property because people can get injured, then sue the owners. FFS mediums are so full of shite, they are scammers. Not all of them. Not all of them. There's some that has resolved cases in the UK. Do you know what I mean? But it's each to his own, people. It really is. I would expect the house in a missing child's case would be searched at the same time before any other area. I agree. Not because of potential crime, but the problem is many people that say they looked everywhere actually only look where they think the child might be. If it was my child disappeared from my place, I would be more than okay with the police searching the house. In fact, I would be hoping that they would found found there somewhere. Yeah, I agree. That's a very good point. Yes, despite the supposed fake image, I'm not convinced it's indeed fake anyway. That this situation has reached a stalemate is because the principals in this case said he'd been three persons on the premises, and at the time that alleged disappearance being his mother and two grandparents, whether or his mother or his father's side been made clear, has never been made clear, have not appeared on news bulletins to explain their case. Anyone can see if someone is lying, and we do not have the opportunity to form that opinion. That's a really good point, the Dingler. Neither they have personal details but been released, for instance, and would like to know if the internet records if anyone of had interest in the occult, encompassing Satanism, devil worship, and human sacrifices, interesting stuff. Whereas the very first, it seemed to me he had been sold as a Halloween sacrifice. We have 18 days to find him. Oh, wow. Weird. That is very, very weird. I hope it's not anything like that of spiritual evil concern, to be honest with you. That would be alarming. There's some good points there. Gaming mediums are fake, I know, because I used to be one. Yep, I'm going to leave it there, people. Oh, one more from Eureka. Thank you. The story about Australian outbacks attitudes being primitive, where men are men and women are women, is misleading and a matter of opinion. If you were talking about some Western Australian mining towns like Kalgoorlie, that might be different. South Australia was in fact the first state that had an openly gay premier in Australia, and that was back in the 1970s. And the people in those parts of South Australia are no more than bigoted than anywhere else. The famous movie Priscilla Queen of the Desert was actually filmed in Australian outback, and David Bowie famously travelled the Australian outback, making some of his famous music video clips. We are fed up with how backwards we are often made out to be, and you can trust me when I say Australia was more progressive in many ways than parts of Europe as far back as the 1970s. The whole transphobia idea has become a big thing lately. They had even gay people disowning the movement for many reasons, particularly around the attitudes of adult access. But the trans movement to children, minor attracted adults have become a problem. Enough said. South Australia is some backward hovel. Many musicians and artists travel, visit, and live in the outback, and communities are often far more welcoming and tolerant of difference than you think. Yeah, I agree. Enough said. Something is really off about this case, and people sense it. And no, SA does not have crocodiles. They shoot dingoes or wild dogs, and that's the way, because the sheep station, if there are any dingoes or wild dogs, the trackers, who amongst the world's best would have found tracks and dingo poo, and they did not. That theory would have been investigated. I agree. That's a really good point. All up to date, people. Thank you very much indeed. Eureka, great messages. Sabina, Game Australia. No, lavishness, that's the linger. Rose Raspberries. Mr. Goodman, thank you very much. Clint, Deb Newton, Coffee, Solitaires, Michelle, Lady Divine, Michelle Clapham, thank you. Glossiencro, Kiwi, Maggie, Kiwi, thank you. Inner Hourglass, Diane, just move up a bit. Can't read you all out, people, but I'm doing my best. Official WWM. So many great messages. I really, really do appreciate you all, people. Really do. Sabina, Julie, thank you very much. The 1972 Bulldog, Ivana, Planet Ronnie, great messages. Good to see you here. Jim Clark, Lady Divine, Jojo, Bernadette, Mushy Mystic, Wingless, Jennifer, all the glitters, all that glitters, Jay, Epiphany, thank you, Just Peace, Morty, Aidsworth, Sister B, user KI5DFADK2V, Kirsty, Bernadette, thank you, Crazy Duck, Thorny Devil, Free Country, Rodney, Loz, Tony, Cindy, Claire, Chiara, Imel, I'll call that, Charney, I gave him $1. Planet Ronnie, thank you. Merst, Sean, sorry, Sharon, Jimmy, Ivana, Deb, Margaret, Loving Earthling, and Mary Stevens. Thank you all. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment. Tell your friends and family. Lots more to come from myself and Ali Harris. Thank you.